Okay. We are live. So I am going to play our intro and we're good to go.
All right.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the first Liverpool LFC Toronto show of 2024. Jake, we're getting old, man. It's 2024. I don't know
Ooh,
how that happened.
crazy.
Um, how's it going? How were your holidays and New Year?
Good, good. I needed to unplug. I unplugged. It was great. And in
Yeah,
that unplugging was, of course, watching the team play several times, which is fantastic to buy
yeah.
some of the time and enjoy enjoy your break for sure. And the wins were fantastic. But yeah, it was great. It was great. As much needed. Missed a little bit of snow. Wasn't too bad with weather-wise, but things are good. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, on the point that you just made, I'm just going to put something across our screen, which is Liverpool, top of the league. Liverpool, top of the league. So, before anyone starts on us, we are aware it's only around the halfway point, although
Yep.
it's just ahead of the halfway point, and we know that big dirty blue machine is breathing down our neck. But at the same time, look, if you can't enjoy when we are top of the league, then maybe we're in it for different reasons, which is totally fine as well. So, yeah, I got to a few games, as you know, got to
Yes.
go to basically all of our festive fixtures, which was super cool being back home. And there's such a buzz right now. I know you're looking to go in the second half of the season too, Jake, and you'll get to feel it too. But it's just there's just a certain buzz around the place right now. And it was interesting because I was talking to one of our other execs who hasn't been over for a while, and what I was saying to him as well was it just seems to the feeling around the place just seems to be getting better and better. And I know we've had a couple of off years here and there, but overall, just the momentum that's now, the new stand is completed. During the Arsenal game, most of it was open, and I was personally quite disappointed with the noise at the Man United game. And then by the time the Arsenal game comes along, it was super, super loud. So yeah, all good vibes, all good fun, but also very, very excited to see what the following month unfolds as well.
With the stand, the new stand, and you being there with what it would have been at that point in time, a couple more thousand, right? At least. Did you feel the
Yeah, yeah,
difference?
yeah,
Did you feel the
yeah,
difference?
yeah, yeah. So the first game I went to was Man United. I personally thought the fans gave up before the players did, to be honest with you. And there was a few like Trent and a few of the favorites were giving, like, come on, like,
Yeah,
help us
yeah,
out
yeah.
kind of thing. And then the next game was the West Ham Carabao Cup game. Funnily enough, I actually thought we were okay that night as fans, but that's the night Jurgen chose to
Yeah.
call a few fans out. And he said it was a couple of individuals. I think it was more about like probably more about the Man United game, but maybe it wasn't. That's just pure speculation from my side. But yeah, by the time Arsenal comes around, everybody was completely in voice and in tune. And I think what was super cool about the Arsenal game was that yeah, you definitely felt the difference of that crowd that's right above the away fans. So the Arsenal fans were in great voice, particularly in the first five,
Okay.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
But then eventually they were just getting drowned out over and
Nice.
over again. Yeah, so it was super cool.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. Can't wait for it to be full house.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be soon. It's gonna be soon. So what are your thoughts? Before we have a little bit of a LFC Toronto specific catch up, and then we start to look forward to the Red Day on Sunday, and then the Carabao Cup semi-final. Just would love to hear your thoughts on where we're at the moment. What your thoughts, expectations, anything bubbling inside there, or you just taking it chill for now?
No, I mean, like, given the fact of how this Prem as a whole has played out, very, very interesting. The race is super tight. For us to have the results that we've had, given the fact that we shouldn't have lost to Tottenham and being this, and we haven't played like all that well here and there. We've had pockets, but for the most part, like the football gods have been in our favor for the first little bit to be in the spot. right? Fine, we do have a few injuries, but this is fantastic. I'm pretty content given all the shit that we've gone through in the first half to be in this spot. Of course, I know City has a game in hand, but I don't give a shit. For us to be on the top, to be the way we are, given the circumstances, injuries, whatever else, minor, major, whatever you want to call it, and then to be in this spot's fantastic. I'm completely content, even with the. Anyways, I'm completely content for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the bigger thing is normally in the second half of the season, it's the Etihad game. Just the way the cookie usually crumbles, the first game is usually at Anfield. And for once this time, the second game is at Anfield as well. So even they win their game in hand, they're 2 points behind us.
Yep.
But there's always the fact that we have the home game and we might not even need to win it as well, which is really cool. The other thing is, in and around now, Jake, they've usually got the upper hand on goal difference as well.
Yeah.
So if you start to look at every other season other than 1920, which is the one we ran away with it, round now, Manchester City have already got a little bit of like a 4, 5, 10, goal swing. And even on that side, we're hanging directly with them as well. So, we all know that a goal difference is as good as a point if you're going to end on the same points. But the other thing about the goal difference thing is it kind of shows the strength of a team's attack versus their defense. And from that perspective as well, it's very pleasing. I'm definitely not going to get ahead of myself right now. The big thing is the title is 1 day or 2 days or, like a little period of time when you get to celebrate the success as being champions. Right? But what I love about this team, what I loved about 21-22 and even years where we didn't win the league is we get to watch this every single day. And this to me is the cake. Like the cherry on top is a championship if it comes, or trophy, or multiple trophies. But the fact that we get to watch this, and I hear the criticism that we've not played too well, and I don't know if I agree or disagree, because I think like Jurgen Klopp's motto has always kind of been like play the team in front of us, get them and like beat them at their game. And I feel like we're pretty versatile as well. We've seen like Aston Villa, Newcastle. Aston Villa's right at the start of the season. Newcastle was our last match, and we've seen like champagne football. On the flip side, we've seen like dogged results, last minute winners, so like at this point, like we've shown different things, and that's also a plus as well. I still have Man City as the favourites, like I think that their proven track record in the second half of the season is until you beat it. Because the crazy thing is they have a better second half of the season than we do in 1920, believe it or not, because once we had won the league, our people just like completely switched off, and like they even beat us 4-0 as well. So, if you look at the last few seasons, Manchester City's second half of the season is incredible.
Yeah.
And would they fancy themselves in this position? Absolutely. Would they fancy themselves with De Bruyne and Haaland and everyone coming back? But you know what? At the same time, if somebody has said to us, you get to reshape the whole midfield, you get to do this whole thing. And by the way, right after the halfway point going into the January window, not only will you be top of the Premier League, you'll also have topped your Europa League group. You will also be in the semi-final of the Carabao with a fairly favourable draw. I think every single one of us would have taken it. And from that perspective, I think we kind of have to enjoy the position we're in.
Completely. Like, that's fandom. That's fandom. All we want to do is have our team win. And if they're competing in all these places and playing the way they are, the last few games, they've been motoring. Like, they're hammering goals. We should have killed, Newcastle. We should have put 15 behind them that day. And the keeper did very well. But we're doing very, very well given circumstances. It's amazing to watch as a fan. I love it.
Any standout performers of the season? I guess Mo is the one, but any others?
I think that I was watching just previously a clip of LFC TV, and a writer was talking about his favorite moment of the season so far, and his favorite moment was when Nunes scored the 2 at Newcastle, right, with in that space. And it's just like looking back at that moment for him, there's been tons of good things that have happened and great moments that have happened throughout the first half. The wins that we've had, like under pressure. It's just been fantastic football to watch. Not one specific moment though, but I think from fan perspective of a player, like I was thinking about this the other day that Mo, like, this one season wonder, whatever you want to call it, from that
Yeah.
standpoint, to have consecutive, just to put up the numbers he's putting up, and he's not finished. If he gets an extension, please extend him out, please. Give him a little cash. He makes, hospitals and things with them anyway. So give him,
Yeah, of
give him
course.
money. He does
Yeah.
all the good. But
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, you have Stevie always in the mix. You always have Kenny in the mix, and like most like on fire with those three essentially, like that company, and
Yeah.
he's doing his part. He's scoring. He's assisting. He's just a good character. Good all those things, and he's fit as a fiddle. And he's gonna keep doing this. Like, and it's fantastic. I think Mo's my guy. Mo's my guy.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan, and I think the fact that if he's joint top of the goal scorers and joint top of the assist charts,
Yeah.
there's no argument whatsoever who has been the standout player of the Premier League season, not just Liverpool. You can't put up those kind of numbers and not be in that conversation. But I have been completely positively thrilled with Virgil van Dijk's return to form. Before Virgil signed for us, I always used to look at, like, there was one performance, and it was a great performance, and it was a great game. It was the Champions League final, actually, in Manchester in 2003. And I remember I was in the stadium, and I remember watching Alessandro Nesta, the Italian, and I was like, I can't really explain it. You just can't get close to him. Like, as in, he's just got this aura. Yeah, he's just got this aura around him. And he wasn't, like, particularly physical or any of that. And it was that one performance I was always like, yeah, I get John Terry or even our own players. Like, yeah, I get Sammy Hupia. I get this. But and since then, Virgil came along, and in like 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, there was this like thing that was just like this rock at the back of our defense. And then obviously the Pickford thing happens, and, it takes him a while to get back. And most players wouldn't be able to get back to that level, particularly as you start to get into your later 20s, early 30s. But, like, he's a bad, bad man. Like, he is like, that guy who, my brother and I, who went to like all of the games together in England. So like Evie and AJ and stuff listening to this will probably attest to this. But in England, you call them like the cock of the school or the cock of the year. And it's basically like the biggest guy, and you're like, you don't mess with him. He's literally giving that vibe on the pitch. So like basically what he does is, which is really funny, I didn't pick up on it as much on the TV, and if people have seen it on the TV, then my apologies. But what I noticed in the stadium is, do you know, like, teams crowd the referee, and like there's like 3 or 4 of them. He actually sends the Liverpool players away, and he just stands there on his own next to the referee, and he's just like this intimidating presence. And like all of the opposition teams, so like Burnley players or West Ham players or Arsenal players, they're all kind of just like looking up at him. It's just his transformation from being not his best last year. And I heard something on another podcast recently which made me laugh, which was, yeah, you can't blame Virgil last year because it would help if the players in front of him were playing. And I agree with that. I think our midfield was woeful last year. And I do think Endo has been a breath of fresh air and all of that stuff. But Van Dijk's return to form is something not only did I not necessarily see coming to that level, it just means that once again, I just feel this like wave of positivity. And that doesn't mean the Premier League, it doesn't mean a double or a treble or it doesn't guarantee you success. But what it means is you'll be in the mix. You'll be in the conversation. That is not a guy who's going to let standards slip Monday to Friday, and definitely not on Saturday and Sunday. Do you agree with that?
He's just, and you can attest this to a certain degree, right? Both of us are like 6'2".
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so we have a bit of a presence. And he's bigger than we are. From that standpoint.
Yeah.
And that stature of being a 6'3" for 6'4" guy on the pitch. Okay, your studs are a little bit bigger too, no problem. and he's a wide frame, and he's got his attitude, and he's got his history, and he's got his name. That in front of a referee is just kind of like, on the opposing players, like, oh shit, okay, there's this mountain in front of you, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's super intimidating. And to your point of injuries is a bastard, right? For anyone, it doesn't matter what it is.
Sure.
Your pinky finger, could be whatever else, but injuries are a bastard. And when you're motoring like that, where you are, like you're playing at a high level, you're playing big Dutch squad stuff, you're playing, our stuff, and he's not had many injuries except for the Pickford one, so he's a presence. And the thing is, that being a Virgil like that, and being as strong as he is in the defense, it helps the midfield, like the Endo. And Endo's been doing very well, but it helps the mentality to know that if I make this mistake, or a guy goes by me, this big bastard's going to be there to mop things up, or to have it shield people, whatever he's been doing, which has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I just love his presence. I love the physicality from that standpoint. And to the Nesta point had a little bit of a lot of things, like as a player, and so as a result, he used his tools very well. One thing he had, which was great, was his football mind, and that is what Virgil has, right? And so sometimes he looks like he's a lazy bastard because he's just trotting like a little whatever.
Yeah,
and he's like, okay, I got some time, or I'll meet at this. I'll give him 2 seconds or whatever. He's calculating all that stuff as the things are going, which is fantastic. And like from a defender, it's like beautiful.
And just to round off that point as well, you see, whether you're in the WhatsApp groups or you're on social media and stuff, and one by one, all of the other defenders are also getting their flowers. So, earlier in the season, Matip's playing great. Recently, Konate, like Konate against Arsenal, for example, like what a beast. Kwanzaa, like what a guy. Who knew that, like, one of the reasons we weren't going to pursue someone else after we didn't get Chilwell was because we had this guy who is like part Matip, part Virgil, hanging out in our youth team. But the one thing that unites them all is Virgil standing next to them. Like I would love to see some of these guys playing at that level without Virgil, but he's that good. And like Mo, he's so fit and looks after himself so well that, like, and some classic centre-backs have gone till 33, 34, 35, like you look at the Maldinis and the Stams even the John Terrys and stuff, like they've gone till a little bit older than a forward, say. So, Virgil is someone who, I'm over the moon that he has been able to find that form again, because he's one of those players that, like, every year since Mo Salah's been at the club, I've had a Mo Salah shirt on the home shirt, other than the two that were Virgil. Like that's the esteem, and it was right as he joined. So as soon as he joined, 6 months later, I remember, like, I went to Anfield with my brother and my nephew, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting Van Dijk. Like it was just like, wasn't even, and like, the person I talk about the most is like Mo Salah, Mo Salah, Mo Salah. And, it's because of the goals. And I think it's also because of the disrespect and not getting the fouls and everything like that. But when at that point, this is summer 2018, I was like, yeah, I'm getting Virgil on my shirt. Like it wasn't even a question, and like, that's like the level that we hold him at as fans, and to see him go back to there as captain, I want to see him lifting something this year. I really do.
And what's interesting is, before he came to us, when he was on Celtic,
Yeah.
If he was this kind of player and just a little bit more raw, let's say for argument's sake, not much, but whatever, they should have won. It was like Celtic should have won everything, literally.
Yeah.
I'm sure the goal, like they let in like 5 goals all year, kind of
sure.
thing with him.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to
see. He also used to score free kicks, take free kicks, and scored a couple.
Good vids that he's just hammering that, like it was like John Arisa kind of hammer,
exactly,
and whatever else. Yeah, he's got a foot on him, which is fantastic.
So, Jake, before I move on to Sunday, which is obviously a big day in our community, just one more conversation I would love to hear, because he is also someone who's heading off to represent his country. What are your thoughts on Wataru Endo? Would love to hear your thoughts there.
Just generally speaking, as Liverpool fans, we hope that the person that's coming onto the club just hits the ground running and performs as soon as they touch the pitch. That's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of the hope that that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
The minute that we don't allow him, or people don't allow him to kind of acclimate to the Premier, right, is what he's done basically. And so people were shitting on him for the first little while because it's too slow, it's whatever else. I mean, physically, like we know that I think the German league is a little bit slower from this perspective. So we know
Mm-hmm.
that. So he's got to adjust to the pace and the people and all that stuff from this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's taken him a couple games. And for the price point of our midfielder to get one guy or like four guys of this quality is like some really, really good business, right? Like I like the fact that Endo's like we have several captains on our team of their national squads, which is fantastic. So you've got leadership on so many different levels is unbelievable, which is what you want on a team, right? You want that
Mm-hmm.
strength, you want that knowledge, you want all that drive and dedication. So I think we have it from that standpoint. But Endo, for the price point, and we took the captain, right? We took the captain from the German team, which is him, and so that was great. He's got a little engine and he's got a little bit of an edge, and I like the fact that he's like an Energizer bunny and he's not going to stop, which is what you want, right? He's playing within his box. He's playing with his means, but he's hustling, and now he's figured out that I can make these runs, I can make these stops, I can do these things because I have these bastards in the back that will help mop it up. So it's like I think his mentality from that standpoint to realize he has that and what's around him to be like, oh shit, I make my effort, but then I can think differently because these guys are going to do this type of work, which is fantastic. But Endo's been like a shining light for the last couple of games, which is beautiful, especially with the injuries that we have now and had.
Yeah, and so I'm just seeing a couple of comments come in. One of them is from Liam, who says, I would say that while I'm undoubtedly biased,
It was like
I think
he was one of the bastards. I was saying endo. Anyways,
yeah, fair. He says, I think Trent has to be in the convo for our best player so far this season. He's gone to another level this season, not questioning the Mo and Virgil shouts for what it's worth. Yeah, Liam, you know how we feel about Trent. I couldn't disagree more. In fact, if anything, I was just watching his new Adidas advert, because he's just signed that deal with Adidas, and we know the technique that you have to be a Predator poster boy, from Zidane to Gerrard, even Beckham, but Del Piero, all of those greats that have been the poster boy, and he's one of those. That's a huge recognition of his talents, and yeah, I mean, just the way he's become that Steven Gerrard, and he's still playing a bit at right back, and then he comes in, no doubt. And that's the beauty, again, you're onto something special when you don't particularly have one player that's in the shout for player of the season. I think the worrying thing is if you're like, there is just one. I think the big thing with Trent is as well, he just keeps getting better every year, every season. You see a bit more of a development, and I'm very protective of him. I know Liam is too. Jake, I feel you are too, because he's just another one of those that gets the haters going. But yeah, what is your thought on Trent so far this season?
So Trent has the hometown drive in his heart. He has that. He has that on a different level, just like Stevie did. So you have that passion, fire, and for whatever reason, because the Scouts dynamic and he's doing well, he's going to probably have the most passion of anybody on the squad from those homegrown premises.
Mm-hmm.
To be a guy like, everybody used to bitch at him for his defense. Everyone used to bitch at him. Oh, he's this, whatever else. For me, I will take the risk. I will do what we have to do. And like lucky bastards, Arsenal, when he hit that crossbar, he should have, he should have scored there. And anyways, he's been on point on so many different things, and he's been playing at this pace with this team without his buddy Robbo on the other side. And so if he's got this kind of like freedom and he's doing his thing, when Robbo comes, it's going to be a whole different squad and a whole different engine, because there's not going to be any gaps. There's not going to be, not saying that Simi and whatever else haven't done their they've done a great job, but Robbo's on a different level from that standpoint. So I think with him and Trent, like, it bodes well for the second half of the season. I think love the fact that we get goals from these people, right? We get goals from every single position on the pitch. And, I'm hoping for Ali to get one too at this rate. But no, Trent's fantastic. And you're right. To be a Brit, to be on the Predator ad, and to come from Liverpool, he's going to love that. He's going to love this. His face is going to be everywhere. He's going to be like, I'm known as a player and a person and whatever else. He's going to love that. It's just going to drive him drive him higher, hopefully.
I wanted him as captain, to be honest, and I was wrong because I think Virgil is the right choice. That's why I always trust in Klopp. Klopp knows more than me. He knows more than you. He knows more than everyone. But no, Trent's been outstanding, and we could keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, we
Yeah,
could just keep
yeah.
going because as soon as you said hometown, I wanted to like jump in and be like, "What about Curtis? Like,
Yeah, first of
what
all,
like we have lost one Premier League game since April." And we've been the number one team. We're top of the league if the league starts in April. Like we're clear. I mean, we're top of the league since August, but if you include April as well, and the coincidental thing is Curtis becoming a mainstay of the team and actually, being part of like what makes the team tick. And the truth is, I also love Sobo. I love McAllister.
oh,
I
yeah.
thought Gravenberch was amazing when he started. He's, found the winter a little bit harder. So has Sobo. The thing with Soboslai, I will say as well, is though, he's only gone off form on the ball. Off the ball, he's still phenomenal. And I know that, you could make the argument that he needs to have a rest or take a back seat because Liverpool are a team that has to use the ball. But like, I think what Soboslai offers off the ball is still world class. And I think on the ball, he's also feeling a little bit of that mid-season slump. But I love all of them. And I just love the options. I love the fact that it doesn't have to be I think it's like, I think every Liverpool fan would agree that Ali, Trent, Virgil, and when he's fit, Robbo, but he's not been fit,
Oh, yeah.
and Mo are the only people that have to play, and beyond that, like
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the pieces to make all kinds of different combinations in midfield, in attack. While Joel was fit, we were even able to rotate our centre backs. It's promising to be another special season, and we started this show in a very special season, and Dan said quadruple on the very first episode, and we're not going to get ahead of
Yeah,
ourselves at
that's one of
all.
those, that's
Yeah,
great.
it's the 5th of January. We're not going to get us but you know what's so exciting is the fact that we've got all of these amazing days and evenings coming up, and that's a perfect segue to say, hang on a second, let me just press my little buttons here. It is a red day this Sunday, January the 7th, kickoff at 11:30, Arsenal versus Liverpool in the FA Cup. So you're going to Sly Fox, right?
Yeah, we have the Liverpool Academy boys, one of the teams coming over with Nicole, Samuel on the group. And so they're going to be coming to Sly Fox, about 20 of them and their parents, whatever else, to watch the game with us. And so that's going to be fantastic. There's a few more teams under the academy, but hopefully we'll get them to come out as well. But we want to get them into the atmosphere, get them to watch the game. They're repping the club on that level. And so getting them on board and kind of in the family is great, and they're going to be great on the weekend.
Amazing. And I will be with a couple of the other folks at Elephant and Castle. So I would recommend you get on.
Please get there early.
Please get there early. Word on the street is that Sultan's already there, but no one can confirm or deny this. But yeah, get there early. Wristbands are in effect. Please check our social media ASAP. That's at OLSC Toronto, either on Facebook or Instagram. All the rules are there. Everything we'll be doing in effect is there. But it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a superb atmosphere. I've missed the last 3-4 weeks at the
great attendance
at the club, and we've had an amazing
attendance. The last couple of matches we've had, I think, between 400 or so, something like that, four something in the pub. It's been a great atmosphere from people from all over the world, expats that live here from all over the place, and a lot of travelers, which is great. But a packed house, great vibe.
Amazing. And so Sunday, be there. What are you thinking about the game?
I think I think Arsenal's a bit of a wounded animal from the last little bit. So I think they realize that maybe who knows what the Prem's going to be like, but they're behind, and to catch up and to do that is a tough ask for anyone. So I think they're going to be playing hard on the weekend and try to beat us as much as possible.
So from a Liverpool perspective, do you go strong? Do you go weak? Do you go experimental?
from my heart, I'd be like, yeah, let's beat the shit out of everybody. I don't care. I don't care at all. I want to be in everything. And that's the point of our club and that squad, is so we can try to do that on all fronts. I mean, if I had to balance it between that and some of the other things, the Prem, no, I don't care about the Cup from that standpoint. But
Yeah.
I think that we can have enough of a chop and change to be able to go against anyone, right? And I think I don't know who's going to start, but I think he'll make some changes.
Yeah, that's my perspective too. It'll be very interesting to see how the two teams actually line up. Like, are they going to be in some kind of agreement to go easy on their first teams, or is it going to be straight? We don't know some of the inner workings here, but if somebody turned around and said, one of them called the other one and said, you know what, let's just go with a few of the reserves, I wouldn't be surprised, because I just feel like both of them are like, we need to be at full strength to take on Man City. But I like what you said about I want to be in everything. And for Sunday is I just don't want to replay. Like we got drawn out against Arsenal away. I believe they were top of the league at the time. So technically that was the hardest draw. That or the Etihad would have been the hardest draw for any team to get. We got it, which has kind of been our luck for the third round. While Klopp's been there, the 6 or 7 years Klopp's been there, only twice have we played non-Premiership teams, which is just a ridiculously tough record, and Emirates away is the toughest of them. So as far as I'm concerned, it's like, yeah, I'm okay playing like somewhat of a weaker team. I would love to see some of the heavyweights in there because there is a bit of a break, and if we look at it in days, then we've got 3 days till Fulham. Then we do have an 11-day break or 11-day rest. So, they can do the warm weather training, or they can wrap up in cotton wool, whatever they want to do. So we just don't get the 14-day thing, like it's still there for us to have a bit of a break. So my perspective would be to try to like take these two games on head first, but I'm definitely not going to question Klopp because the league is absolutely my priority. I'm usually a Champions League guy, but we're not in the Champions League. So for me, the league is the absolute priority. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that just brings us on to the last point, which is Fulham. And then I just want to ask you a couple of housekeeping questions for the club. But yeah, Wednesday, Fulham. So you'll be back at Elephant and Castle. Are you working, or what are you thinking for Wednesday?
I'm not sure. I will probably be at Elephant for that.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully I can swing it and I'll come by. Yeah.
Well, what I just read today on www.doctors.com is that Dr. Klopp is doing some appointments for Wednesday. Walk-ins welcome. Apparently he can accommodate hundreds. And what he's saying is, if you're going to be doing one of our specials like Carlsberg, he can write you unlimited prescriptions for that stuff as well. So, it's a semi-final, folks. We live for these days. It's a big, big game. And you know what? Just the same way I was saying about the Sunday game, which is I just don't want to replay. No disrespect to Fulham. They've been a very credible Premier League team in the last. Yeah, exactly. And they did us a great favor at Craven Cottage against Arsenal recently. But I have to say, if we are able to perform like we did against Newcastle, against Fulham, then we could effectively have one foot in the final at that point by the time the return game comes as well. So lots of big things on the line, which, again, from a Liverpool perspective, but also a Liverpool-Toronto perspective, is setting us up. So just to take us home, I just had a couple of things to say and thoughts. Number one, so the T-shirt you're wearing, I hear, is pretty much sold out now.
It's
sold out.
Almost, yeah. There's only a few left, but it's pretty much done.
Yeah, and it's all the bigger sizes now as well, right? So what we said, nice. Their capsule collections, you snooze, you lose. And are we able to share a preview? I won't physically do it, but like I hear there's something else around the corner, swag-wise.
Oh, there's a lot. Do we say? I mean, the weather's here. The weather in Toronto is kind of up and down. So
Okay.
there's lots of stuff on the horizon from Swag. What do you think? What do you feel?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I've been a bit cold recently in
Yeah,
and around my neck. So I'm just thinking, if there's anything that the club can do to like warm people's necks in the next little while. And the thing is, we've had like a big change over the last couple of years. Our brand, we've got like a pretty distinct brand and design style. So I really want to see if we can get something that can like match that, but keep me warm at the same time.
yeah,
I'm just thinking if we're able to do something like that, I would highly appreciate it.
yeah. I mean, we make some cool shit. So I think something really cool and fun is going to be on the horizon. Keep on.
Amazing. And some big announcements coming too, which we won't say too much at the moment. But Jake, it's been a pleasure to spend my Friday
Yes,
evening
yes.
with you.
Always a pleasure.
And I shan't see you on Sunday, but I should see
No,
you on Wednesday. But
yes,
I'll
yes.
probably chat to you on WhatsApp in the next 10 minutes or something.
Fantastic. Have a good one, brother.
Have a good one. All the best. Up the Reds.
Cheers.